Aloha. You're watching Cradlepoint, part of Ericsson here at RSA 2024 at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. Hey, if you're at the show, please come by the South Hall, booth 2261. We'd love to have you. And I'm really excited to have Will Townsend with me. He's a VP and Principal Analyst with Moor Strategy and Insights. Nice to see you, Will.
Good to see you, Peter.
How's it going?
Man, I tell you what, the show is just, it's overwhelming, but it's just, there's so much excitement and electricity in the air, I'm just digging it.
So can you tell us a little bit about Moor Insights and Strategy and your areas of focus?
Yeah, so we're an analyst firm, technology analyst firm. We're a little unique in that we actually have industry experience. So we're great writers, but we also lean into that experience to do a lot of advisory work for our clients. I've actually done some work for Cradlepoint in the past as well.
So, you know, the growth of 5G.
Yeah.
And GSMA talks about it's going to add like $1 trillion to the global economy by 2030. There's other reports that we're seeing, you know, the millions and billions of connections over the next several years, yet we still hear from organizations, they only consider it sort of as the backup connection or the secondary connection. So I'm curious, from your experience, like, are you seeing more organizations use it as their primary, or when is like the backup going to become the starter?
Well, you know, and I think that was true in the past, that cellular was a backup. But what's happening now, you're seeing a lot of automation in OT environments, and cellular really shines when you look at the propagation, the performance, the ability to tailor latency for discrete workloads and that sort of thing. I'm beginning to see that. I'm also seeing cellular being used as a primary connectivity modality in branch locations as well, right? One of the superpowers that it has is just the speed of provisioning as well. Yeah. So I think it makes it ideally suited for that. And then finally, I see a lot of mid-market companies that are gravitating towards private LTE and private 5G, just because it provides, again, a very simple, easy to provision, and easy to manage solution for that size of environment.
Right, you can turn it up in a day, where if you're trying to like pull dark fiber to a building, you could waste months and months. Now certainly with the proliferation, why can't I say that this time? With the growth of 5G, I say it all the time, I even write it, but anyway, you know, this then really creates a much larger attack surface.
It does.
So what are some of the things organizations should maybe, as they're growing out their 5G connections, kind of be aware of as they start to get into that?
That's a great question. So, I mean, obviously the 5G new radio standard, if you didn't know this, has additional encryption and security capabilities to it. But that's not going to be enough. To your point, with cellular technology, that threat surface is going to expand tremendously. That's driven by IoT sensors, the manufacturing automation use cases like I was sharing with you. And so it really behooves enterprises to consider a solution that has security integrated into the connectivity stack. No longer is a bolt-on solution going to be adequate, because these bad actors are getting more and more sophisticated. They can easily attack bolt-on solutions. And honestly, too, when you bolt on a solution, the integration that goes into that, there's weaknesses to that integration as well. So having that end-to-end stack that includes connectivity and security, from my perspective, that's the best consideration for an enterprise.
And then helps mitigate any future attacks that potentially come their way.
Exactly. It also makes it easier to manage as well. And the one thing, when you look at sort of that mid-market audience that I was referring to, you don't have a lot of security acumen and bench strength. There continues to be a security professional shortage in the industry. Right. I think the last number I saw was 4 million globally. That number's probably gone up another million since you and I, you know, are having this conversation. But at the end of the day, that's, you know, having that sort of that agility and the ability to be able to manage networking and security side by side in a single pane of glass is super important. And that's one of the things that Cradlepoint's doing today from my perspective.
Nice, thanks.
Did you like that plug?
That was an awesome plug. Now, you know, I to be fair, we kind of prepped a little bit, sent some questions along, but this will be one that you haven't heard. Now, this is Cradlepoint's first RSA, believe it or not. Yeah. So I'm starting to ask folks about their first. So for me, it's about my 15th, give or take, RSA. So I'm kind of curious about you, if you have any special memory, or, you know, we were doing, you know, web application firewalls were the big thing back in. So do you have any like origin stories about RSA conference?
Well, I mean, the only story that really comes to my mind as I think about it right now is when I was here right after the pandemic and things lifted back up, and then I got COVID again. So that was terrible. But I think this year, what I'm impressed with is just the focus on AI. There's certainly a lot of whitewashing going on, but what I'm really excited about is generative AI, that natural language interface, and the ability for defenders to be able to leverage that to provide better protection for customers. And that's certainly something Cradlepoint is doing in the industry as a whole. I'm hearing about that all over the show floor. Again, there's a lot of whitewashing. You got to kind of sift through the noise and that sort of thing. But, no surprise, AI is a big theme this year.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. Even talking about how even the machines now can't tell the difference between a human-generated or a machine-generated phishing attack, and even those are becoming even more and more prevalent.
Right.
Crazy stuff. So how can people learn about you and your team online?
So my social handles at Willtown Tech on X. I guess we're calling it X these days. You can also find me, Will Townsend, on Twitter. And our website, moorinsightsandstrategy.com. And we have a bevy of information, published white papers. I've actually done some work with Cradlepoint. Yep. You'll find those resources there as well.
Sweet.
Yep.
Thank you so much for your time coming by the booth. Great to meet you. Yeah. We kind of been chatting over the last couple of months. I was like, I think we've met at some time in the past. So it's really great to
Small world.
Get you on camera and have a nice conversation. Cool. So reporting from San Francisco for my new buddy, Will, with more insights and strategy. I'm Peter, and I'm with Cradlepoint. Thanks for watching.